Hollywood is no stranger to ambitious projects that never see the light of day. Over the years, we've seen some legendary films get canceled, often for reasons ranging from creative differences to financial troubles, studio shakeups, and even unforeseen disasters. Today, we're diving into 5 Hollywood movies that were shockingly canceled despite their star power, visionary directors, and massive potential. First up, we have At the Mountains of Madness, a dream project for legendary director Guillermo del Toro. Based on H.P. Lovecraft's horror novella, this film was set to be a terrifying deep dive into cosmic horror, featuring an expedition to Antarctica that uncovers nightmarish creatures. Guillermo del Toro had the perfect vision for this project. With a script co-written by James Cameron and planned to star Tom Cruise, this was poised to be one of the most ambitious horror films ever made. But Universal Pictures pulled the plug, fearing the film's hard R rating would limit its audience. The studio wanted a more marketable PG-13 horror movie, but del Toro refused to compromise. Another major issue? The film's staggering budget of around $150 million. Studios weren't sure if Lovecraft's horror would have mainstream appeal, despite the rise of similar cosmic horror themes in modern films. While the project remains dormant, del Toro has expressed hope of revisiting it someday. Until then, At the Mountains of Madness remains one of Hollywood's greatest what-could-have-been horror epics. Imagine a Superman movie directed by Tim Burton, starring Nicolas Cage as the Man of Steel. Sounds insane, right? Well, it almost happened in the 90s with Superman Lives. The film, written by Kevin Smith and later rewritten multiple times, was a bizarre take on Superman, featuring Brainiac, Lex Luthor, and a giant mechanical spider. The most mind-blowing part? Superman was supposed to wear a biosuit and even die in the movie before being resurrected. Despite massive interest and millions already spent on pre-production, including wild costume tests, Warner Brothers got cold feet. The failure of Batman and Robin, 1997, made studios wary of another big-budget superhero film. Plus, Tim Burton's vision was considered too unconventional. After spending over $30 million on development, Superman Lives was shelved in 1998. But the legacy of this canceled film lives on, thanks to leaked concept art, test footage, and documentaries exploring what could have been. If you grew up watching Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man trilogy, you probably remember the heartbreak when Spider-Man 4 was canceled. Director Sam Raimi had ambitious plans, bringing back Tobey for one final adventure against Vulture, played by John Malkovich, and a cameo by Bruce Campbell as Mysterio. However, after the mixed reception of Spider-Man 3, the studio was nervous. Raimi was struggling with the script, feeling he couldn't meet the studio's 2011 release date. Rather than risk another critical failure, Sony scrapped Spider-Man 4 and decided to reboot the franchise with Andrew Garfield's The Amazing Spider-Man. Years later, the love for the original trilogy remains strong, and fans still hope for a Tobey Maguire comeback, especially after his return in Spider-Man No Way Home, 2021. Before Zack Snyder's Justice League, before even the DCEU, there was Justice League, Mortal. Directed by George Miller, this film had an all-star cast featuring Armie Hammer as Batman, DJ Cotrona as Superman, and Megan Gale as Wonder Woman. Warner Brothers was ready to begin filming in 2007, but the Writers Guild of America strike threw everything into chaos. The script couldn't be revised, and production delays escalated. Then came The Dark Knight, 2008, which changed everything. The studio didn't want to confuse audiences by having 2 Batmen, Christian Bale in Christopher Nolan's trilogy, and Armie Hammer in Justice League Mortal. With all these setbacks, the film was ultimately scrapped. To this day, leaked concept art and early photos hint at what could have been an epic superhero showdown, long before the DCEU even took shape. Rounding out our list is Gambit, a movie that spent nearly a decade in development hell. Fox announced the film in 2014 with Channing Tatum set to star as the beloved X-Men character, but the project kept hitting roadblocks. Directors came and went, including Rupert Wyatt and Gore Verbinski. Budget issues, creative clashes, and Fox's merger with Disney only made things worse. Eventually, the project was permanently shelved when Disney decided to reboot the X-Men for the MCU. Tatum was devastated, even admitting that he was so attached to the role that he couldn't watch other superhero films for a while. Sadly, we may never see his version of Gambit, but with Marvel now in control, the character's future is wide open. And there you have it, 5 Hollywood movies that were shockingly canceled despite their massive potential.